So interesting post. I think I've seen this multiple times, really from multiple sources, where someone pitched the notion of no more billionaires. As in, you get $999 million and you're done. Every other dollar, every red cent gets taken, given some more needy cause. And that's all well and good, but I think they kind of miss something here. A lot of people do. Uh, we have so many wealthy people because we have so many poor people. What that does is it's backward from what people think. Uh, you look all up and down any city street, and I know I've kind of mentioned this to some degree before. Look at all these pointless businesses. I mean, seriously. I'm sure you can name half a dozen chain restaurants that you don't particularly care for. I can name a lot myself. The reason they exist, I mean, think about the person that's over those is wealthy, right? Like the top dog and, I don't know, Burger King or something like that. Or that McDonald's guy. They're wealthy. Okay? The reason their wealth exists at all, the reason their company exists, is because people are poor. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of it. So if you cut out all the extra stuff there in the middle, this person is wealthy because there's poor people. That's it. They're wealthy because there's poverty. So they could have this dumb, useless job that doesn't mean anything to anybody. The world will be completely fine. You can name 20, 30 fast food restaurants, just an example. It hasn't got to be just that industry. But just talking fast food, you could name 20, 30, 40, 50 of them. It would not change the world in any way. Certainly not for the worse if they were to disappear. They don't matter. And that's why I've always got infuriated, even before I really started doubting Bernie Sanders. The reason why I started, I think the first thing that made me kind of doubt him was, and this is the buzz phrase for me, job creation. That sounds great. That sounds very necessary. It's something a lot of people tout. It's not. It's not. Career, sure. But jobs, no. As a matter of fact, when you refer to something as just a job instead of a career, it's something you had to settle on. You have no passion for. You know, you have a music career. You know, these people, their life is making music, and they have a living from it. You know, and they're putting out music and they're playing places. That's not a job; it's a career. A little bit more tired than I thought. But, you know, the reason you take my job, for example, or any job I've had in the past, I'm there because I have to be. And that's it. And I've gone through, in my jobs, excruciating pain. I don't know where it would register with whoever might be watching this, but for me, I've hit 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 often. Come home and just cannot walk. Agony, absolute agony. And the reason why that's happening is because poverty. That's it. You're not given or allowed to have, not even given. Libertarians and especially Republicans like to talk about things being given. It's that it's not allowed. It's withheld. It's not given. It's withheld. This entire planet's big enough for everybody. Has plenty of resources for everybody. And they like to talk about taking. Well, the reason why you would have to take it is because somebody has already taken more than their share. And that's not communism. That's common sense. And if you're religious, that should agree with your religion. Agrees with most of them that I've ever seen anything about. You don't just throw your arms around the entire planet, decide it's yours, and the only way anybody can just barely get by is if they're a servant for you. And then you withhold things that they need, and you shorten their lives. So I think people need to remember that. We don't need jobs, we need careers. We need less need for money. That's what needs to happen. There's not so much a job creation going on as a job necessitation. Matter of fact, there was something. I should have brought my stand in here. There was something I saw. It's one of these things I've been trying to hunt down. I managed to run across. Very necessary thing. I need to get my internet better on the TVs, so I don't have to do this with phones. Where was it? I think the guy's Australian. And he says the quiet part out loud. And people need to understand this is what's happening. I'm really surprised it somehow got deleted. I know I shared it. Oh, here we go.
Unemployment has to... We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment...
What people call conflicts of interest, Steve and I call experience and trusted.
Oh, clumsy.
We need to see unemployment rise.
Very clumsy. Hang on.
Unemployment has to jump 40-50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40-50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean,
That's part of it. There was another guy, I'm not 100% sure exactly how he phrased it, but he mentioned that they don't want prices to get too low because people will be able to own their own home. And so I don't know about how it goes all over the world, but I know in the United States you're paying land taxes, property taxes forever, or they'll take your house back. It seems to be a society that makes sure that you always have bills that can never be paid off. And I'm not even talking about like electricity and water and things like that. And there's the ways of sort of manufacturing your own electricity and water, getting your own water. It's auto insurance bills. And, it's funny to me, something in sort of my political genesis, something I thought was kind of strange years ago, I was talking to some relatives. And it was when they first, I don't know if it was a Tennessee thing or it was a federal thing, when they made auto insurance mandatory. It was that long ago. And I thought it was horrible, and I still do. It doesn't make any sense. If you think about it for a few minutes, you'll realize that it doesn't make any sense. But when you have Republicans and conservative people being all for it, this doesn't make sense to everything else they're saying. If you were mandated, let's say they got rid of that, and whatever you're paying in auto insurance went to feed the hungry or pay off people's medical debt, they'd have a problem with that. But they don't have a problem just giving this money nonstop for some insurance corporation for the rest of their lives. Doesn't make any sense. Or they'll pull their license. They might even take them to jail. It's insanity. How did this pass? Why is nobody talking about it? If you have a clean driving record, even relatively clean, you should not be mandated to have auto insurance. That doesn't make any sense. And it's yet another bill that you can never pay off. So it's like you're forced to work. They got you from every direction. They got these dumb jobs that they'll tell you just go out and get one. Why? And trust me, you want to suggest that I'm lazy, I can show you my job record. These phones, which I carry around in my pockets, I have for many years, I can show you what the pedometer says on them. You could talk to former coworkers. I'm not lazy, but this is nonsense. It's the strangest thing that we've accepted the notion that if you're poor, only if you're poor now, you get to a certain age and you're just supposed to work for the rest of your life. And think about this for a second. Because it's very possible, and getting more possible, unfortunately, that you could never be able to own your own home. Okay? That's bad enough. Here's what makes it worse. A lot of these renters, not only do they charge way more than what you would be paying for a mortgage, they don't let you own pets. Some of them will not even let you have children. That's strange. The place is just for adults. Or maybe you couldn't afford that either. So in other words, your entire existence, and you're supposed to be okay with this, was you're born, you get to a certain age, and you just work until you die. And that's it. You don't get to have a pet. You don't get to own your own home. If you're in one of these places with vehicle safety inspections, you probably never pay off your car because you're constantly having to get a new one because it's always failing the stupid inspections. Okay? No pets, no family, no nothing. You were born, you're a cog in a machine to make a wealthy person wealthier, and then you die. And that's your life. And that's supposed to be accepted. I don't know how did this ever go over? How? I mean, you see how these cults work now. I mean, if you could talk somebody into that, I don't guess the Manson cult sounds that crazy, huh? That's nonsense. It's. I know there's one political commentator that has a show that I don't know if he coined this phrase or not. Peasant mindset. And that's kind of accurate. It's sort of an acceptance of the feudal system for sure. You're born to work for a wealthy person and die. And it won't be a long life. And there's a lot of them that do not want you to retire. I know Ben Shapiro, conservative, has talked down on that. And they keep raising the age up. And look how people are dying. Not even making it to that age. That's deliberate. I need people to understand that the number one point of your life is to have a fulfilling life. That's the truth. This money nonsense is just... I mean, we need this entire system just rebooted. You can't sit there and tell me you believe in God and tell me that a person's entire life is just supposed to be born, toil, and die. And you're going to try to, and some people would try to cop out of that and be like, well, they did something wrong. Really? Really? And that won't hold up either. Because if it's a system where everybody can make it, what if everybody does? I know I've said that before. What if everybody does? The system collapses. How many people will be working fast food if everybody makes it? I mean, look right now, how many wealthy people's children work fast food? They don't. So if you make it and you have children, are they going to be working fast food? Why? Why should they? Why shouldn't they just go straight into some sort of career? Or do like the wealthy people actually do and sit around and do nothing but just pretend to be important. Look at the Kardashians. What do they contribute? Nothing. Not a lick of talent among them. But think about the talent that's being wasted because you're in a cog in a machine. Now see, even if you're an atheist, you believe in science, you don't believe in God and intelligent design and all that. Okay, let's go with that. You really think that people turn from whatever ooze or whatever one-celled organism developed and all this to work at Burger King and die? That doesn't make any sense either. When you have religion and non-religion agreeing, maybe you need to wake up. Maybe that means something. You're put here to have a fulfilling life. Your life matters. I know people like to say all lives matter. Okay, well, delve into that a little bit. Life matters. A person's life matters. They have a purpose. You know, they claim it's some sort of narcissism for someone thinking that they're special. Well, I think everybody's special. Everybody brings something to the table. Unless they decide to do something bad, really bad. You have a purpose. You have value. You have meaning. And it's not to just be a cog in a machine, especially making garbage. Pieces for cars that won't last 3 years. Just end up just piles of scrap, growing ever larger. Or making food that, I don't want to go full bore RFK here, but, you know, I'm not for that greasy, cheap, artificial slop either. I'm just not like he is about it. There's a lot of this stuff that people need to understand shouldn't exist. So when people start talking about job creation, what are they talking about? Make it so these jobs are not necessary. Make it so a person you can remember looking back at these music videos and everything. Think about that. You'd see a theme of a music video. A guy just gets on a motorcycle and rides. Throws his guitar over his back and just wanders. You can't do that anymore. Everything costs something. If you don't have a cop hassling you for no reason. Somebody wanting to see if you're legal. We've gotten rid of that. And you got these people that aren't saying anything about it, ain't doing anything about it, who are talking about making America great again. Well, when was it? Was it then? Because you're not doing anything about it. And I also find it funny, too. Making America great again. These same people that are saying that, the again that they're talking about, pretty sure, that was when school was more affordable, as in college, or even regular school. Medical treatment was a lot cheaper. And a lot of these things were not mandatory. Like auto insurance. That wasn't that long ago. I just turned 43 last month. It's not that long ago. So, that's the again that they're talking about, right? Well, then why are they supporting the things that have happened since? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hold any water. So this is more of this stupid capitalism cult nonsense that's anti-free market. It is. Capitalism is not free market. It's not. Whoever tells you that is an idiot. They're an idiot or they're deliberately lying to you. You can figure this out in 3 seconds. Capitalism hates the free market. It is the enemy of the free market. How on earth are you thinking it's together? The whole point of capitalism as a business is to destroy all the competition. How's that a free market? It's to destroy, it makes it to where, in that particular case, only you can provide the product. If it's your corporation, only you can provide that employment. How's this a free market? Something to think about. More of this capitalism cult nonsense. Please wake up.